Hello and welcome to Level Up and Friends, where those of us from the video game and comic book store Level Up Entertainment gather together some of our friends and we talk about subjects we're passionate about. This week we're talking, it's our first in a series of Halloween related episodes for the month of October. We're going to be talking about some costuming tips and tricks and maybe some simple ideas to help you guys step up your game for not just this Halloween, but if you cosplay year round or anything in the future. So I've got two of our favorite cosplayers that we know. I've got joining me this week is Morgan.
Hi, I'm Morgan. You can find me on social media. I'm at Moglin, Moaglin. Pretty much Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all that fun stuff.
And I've also got Emily.
Hi, I'm Emily of Emily's Madness. You can find me at Emily's Madness pretty much anywhere on social media.
All right, so we're going to get started in this a little bit. Let's get a little bit of background for new listeners, since we're now on like a million more platforms than we were when I started this earlier this year. So, if you guys want to tell us a little bit about your costuming origins, we'll start with Morgan.
I've been cosplaying, I think, since 2013, I want to say. I make all my own costumes. I did it for a while before I even started attending conventions, and now I kind of just, I do a lot of the Free Comic Book Day and Halloween Comic Fest events with Level Up. I won their Halloween Comic Book Fest costume contest. I don't even know the year at this point. I've known you guys for how long now?
Yeah.
And I've just kind of been with you guys ever since.
I will say I don't remember specifically when either of you kind of entered our orbit. It just feels like you've both always been there now.
Yeah.
Exactly. I'm pretty sure I was like right after Emily, because I think Emily was judging when I was a contestant, and then it's just been...
Basically you've both won, and then we're like, hey, you're too good, just start judging these for us so we don't have to do that anymore. And fortunately, we've been able to be friends for the better part of a decade then, I guess.
Seriously. Like I said, I think I said this in the last Halloween or the Comic Book Fest podcast, or I guess episode we did. I feel like I've known Emily since she was like 12.
Yeah, pretty much.
But yeah.
So Emily, how about you? How'd you get started in the world of cosplay here?
I kind of got really interested in makeup and then heard about Free Comic Book Day at the mall, and just split-second decision was like, hey, I gotta cosplay the Joker. I don't know why, but I gotta. And it's just been a lot of like thrifting and finding pieces online and modifying things. And a lot of makeup.
I think that's what really put one of the things that really put your Joker on the map. Now, specifically, you were the Dark Knight Heath Ledger version of the Joker, which was a more contemporary version of the Joker at the time, to say the age of this event a little bit. But like, wow, they like really like looked like that. But that kind of leads us into the first point that I kind of want to get into, because I know you each have at least one cosplay that you've done and then sort of redone, and again, and I know, Emily, you've redone that Joker in a way.
Oh yeah.
It not to degrade what you did before, but your updated one looked way better.
Oh yeah. So
like, what's some of the stuff that like you learned to increase the production value, so to speak?
Definitely, if you don't get it right the first time, you can always improve and test everything. Everything. When I did the makeup, I had only tested it once before I did it for Free Comic Book Day, and it was so hot that day. Mm-hmm. The stuff that I used was not the greatest, but it worked until we got in the car and it was legitimately melting off of my face. So test everything, test it again, test it in the conditions that you're going to be wearing it in, and then go with it. And everything kind of has its drawbacks. So like now the scars that I do look really, really good. The problem with them now is they're in a very movie area. Like if you put your finger where the scars are and you move your face around, it moves so much. So they can lift if I open my mouth too much, because they are what's called rigid collodion, which literally constricts the skin to make it look like it's indented. Looks fantastic.
Mhm.
Terrible if I ever want to like eat or talk.
Yeah, and the Joker's not known for, saying things. So
Yeah.
it works out.
Yeah.
Especially not the Heath Ledger Joker. He doesn't take monologues or anything.
No, he just kind of just like broods around.
But that is something to consider. Like, is there potentially like a workaround where, like, because obviously you don't have the budget that Christopher Nolan did, but there is clearly a way you can do makeup applications like that at least hold up for scenes and close-ups of people.
Oh yeah, probably. There's definitely, I've heard, like, if you really wanted to get into it, you could obviously have a face cast, sculpt your own prosthetic, and like run and cast it in like silicone or dragon skin, which I would love to do. I don't have the means right now, so
No, that's totally understandable.
yeah.
But Morgan, do you have a story similar like that of a cosplay you did earlier and then kind of had to like redo, and maybe what you learned differently?
Yeah, so the costume I've redone was actually my very first costume that I had ever made, which I feel like that's probably a very similar story for a lot of people, because you kind of just jump into it not really knowing a lot, and then like Emily said, as you wear it, you find things that really, really don't work.
Yeah.
Or like things you literally can't wear again because they've just completely fallen apart. So I made Link from Ocarina of Time. I did kind of like a gender bend, so I call it Lady Link.
Now, to be fair, this is before Linkle existed.
Exactly. Yeah.
So they ripped you. Yeah.
Yeah. So I did that, and it was a lot of learning for sewing. That was the hardest part for me. I sewed the entire tunic like 3 times because I'm like OCD and didn't like one version, and then redid it. Then I made the boots and the gauntlets and everything out of like this pleather, and of course the pleather I bought, I had like 0 money. So it came in completely orange and a different color than what I had ordered, and they would not refund me. And so I had to work with it, and I painted it. And then by the end of my shoot, the pieces of pleather were sticking together because they were painted. So the paint was coming off and everything. So just last year, I decided, like, I want to wear this costume again, but I literally cannot wear 90% of this costume because it's falling apart. So I redid like the belts, all the leather bits. I got a convention safe sword because the one I had originally gotten was like real steel, and that's great, and it was cool for like photos and stuff, but like I could never bring that to a convention. I also had like a decorative fiberglass shield, which again, I cannot bring that to a convention. So I got like a foam one, I painted that. So I kind of just updated it with a lot of the knowledge I've gained from other costumes, and I'm really proud of how it turned out. I think the only original pieces of that costume I kept the same was the tunic and the hat, and that was it.
I was gonna guess the hat because I don't think you could really just get
the hat. It's weird. I do have a like prototype version of the hat that I did a while ago, and it's too small, so it sits on like one of my mannequins now. So I mean, even the hat, I guess I had technically redone at some point, but yeah.
Oh, I did not know you sewed your own tunic. That's amazing to me because I have a Ghostbusters cosplay, and like the thought of sewing the patches on is like mind blowing. So they're kind of not the greatest. They were iron on. I really need to sew down the corners, but like I don't know what I'm doing, and I'm afraid to try.
I mean, like there's even parts of that costume that I wish like of the tunic I would change, but at this point I'm like, I'm not sewing that entire thing again. Like the belt loops are literally hot glued on. I'm like the joke is I wear it and I'm like, don't look at my belt loops. Like that's the only thing I'm ashamed of. Like everything else is pretty good, but like I'm not gonna rip those off and then ruin the entire thing. Just
oh, I never looked at your belt loops before. Maybe I need
don't look at my belt loops.
Don't look at the belt loops.
Look at those pictures on your social there.
Zoom in on them.
Man, sewing is awful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, do you guys use like a sewing machine, or I can't imagine you do like it by hand, do you?
I haven't really had to sew anything aside from, so most of my pieces that I get are offline, or like my Harley jacket. I think we got from Hot Topic, and then I like stare at the photos because I'm insane and want to be as accurate as possible.
And of course, the Hot Topic versions are never exact.
Yeah, I mean it's really, really good.
Yeah.
And then I was like, wait, what is that on her? She has like chain running down the sides of the gold pinstripes on the sleeves. So I had to sit there with like the most horrible invisible thread and hand sew through the loops of all of the chain. And I'm like, I hate this. I hate this. It looks amazing now.
Yeah.
Hated it.
Yeah. Well, sometimes the ends justify the means, right? You suffer for your art.
Yeah. I started on it was literally a sewing machine that my mom had gotten my younger sister when she was probably like 10. It was Hello Kitty, okay?
I remember the story.
It's so pretty with Hello Kitty up the side. And I literally got rid of it maybe like 2 years ago because my family bought me like a new one for a Christmas present. And I was like, wow, this is intense. I feel like an adult now. But I mean, like, it worked. Did what I had to do.
Yeah.
Oh man, that should be a collector's item now.
Oh yeah.
I will say
my mom still has it. I'm pretty sure she uses it for like curtains.
You got rid of it and just that it's not at your house. I thought you meant like you threw it out. Like, oh, I don't think I could get rid of it at that point.
No, it's a legend.
But I guess it's a good thing to point out that like you can buy a lot of stuff off the rack, and even if it's not completely accurate, there are simple modifications you can do.
Oh yeah.
You don't do them like.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. A lot of the time, that will be my first option. Is like, oh, this she's wearing like a t-shirt with a weird sleeves, like Emily was saying, like, okay, if I can find a t-shirt that looks like that, I'm gonna go try to do it. I'm not gonna sew my own like black t-shirt, you know. But I mean, like with a lot of costumes, it's either getting them from like a costuming site if you want it to be close. Like you can't just go to H&M and bring home a link tunic. That's just not a thing.
I mean, we should live in a world where we do that. We have the power to change society, so everyone get out there, take it to the streets, and we can do that. I will say, like, I've also done some minor. I wouldn't call myself a cosplayer. I've had a couple of costumes over the years. Back when this was more relevant and I had more hair, when The Office was on, everyone said I looked like Dwight. So I eventually embraced it, and I did go as Dwight for Halloween. But like, I just kind of just go to the store and buy like a suit and like mustard color and stuff. But I have done things where this isn't a cosplay per se, but I did. I made a scarecrow for Halloween, like as a decoration, like a million years ago. But I went out to a thrift store because I was like, oh, I need kind of like overalls to kind of go up around it so I can stuff it with hay and hold it. But like, I know that you can get a lot of pieces. Obviously, if you're making like a Darth Vader costume, you can't really do that. But like, say even any version of the Joker, because he's got kind of like, especially the Heath Ledger one, because he's got kind of this weird, eclectic outfit.
Everything from the Joker originally was just from a thrift shop, and then like I dyed the vest and the pants. I don't know how we found a purple blazer.
That blows my mind. that was all thrifted. And not,
I don't know how like we found got the pants to match. I remember we ran out of purple dye, and I was like, and used like some like weird paint that I had to just like brush it on and dye it, and like I need new pants.
I never would have known it. If I remember correctly, I remember reading something like before the Dark Knight had even come out specifically about this version of the Joker. Like I think Christopher Nolan was talking about like his ideas for this version, because when the first trailers came out, or like even when they announced Heath Ledger, there was so much backlash that like I remember he was talking like I think they did try to make it look like he came from just random pieces that you would find at Goodwill. Like it's really like kind of slapdash together. Like it's not like classic Joker. Like it looks like a tailored suit. He also was like, in the comics, he also was like weird and tall and lanky, and like you couldn't really get a suit that looked like that off the rack anyway. Which is I want to read the story about Joker's tailor then, and how they made so many of those. But it's interesting that you kind of go through a similar process just to make that costume. And I know you specifically, Emily, have done other costumes that weren't quite so. I don't even want to say the word easy, but like were as easy to make as that, because you're talking about dyeing all of these clothes and like that blows my mind. But like say like Witch Mercy is something I don't think you can just make out of like thrifted.
Yeah, no, that entire thing, aside from like the book, was bought off of like a website.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had to modify it, and I'm still trying to figure out wings.
See, I know wings were your issue.
Oh my god.
They were doing what wings do and catching the wind. And,
I was going to just take off.
Yeah. I mean, that would be amazing. But Witch Mercy brings up a good point, because I think you made the book for that, right?
Yeah. So it came with this awful, awful book. And I just, like, took that apart and then glued it on, like, a wooden book from Michael's so I could store stuff in it, which is great. Always find a way. always find a way to add, like, pockets and, like, secret purses into cosplays. It's chef kiss. But yeah, I would love to just completely make new wings and eventually make the staff, because I'm a lot better with like makeup and props than I am making pieces of clothing.
Yeah. Same. But let's talk a little bit about props then, because Morgan, you also mentioned you had to change up your sword and shield for Link. What are some of the other like kinds of props you guys have had to do over the years?
So I've done like a lot of like swords. I've done quite a few like longbows and stuff. My Lara Croft costume definitely by far had the most props. So I made like both of her ice axes. This was from the Tomb Raider. I guess it was Rise of the Tomb Raider. That was the game for it. So like one of the newer ones. So she had the ice axes. She had a bow. I made all the arrows. I made like, she had like a walkie-talkie. She had like 10 like bullet little bags on her belt, and she had like a holster and her gun. So like I've done that. One of the ones I'm most proud of was I did like, this was kind of a collaborative effort with my dad. Last year we were Joel and Ellie from the new Last of Us game. And so I didn't focus much on props, but because those costumes was like a lot of pulling pieces that already existed. So, because they wear normal clothes, they're just covered in blood and dirt and zombie grossness and all this other stuff. So we decided to like go all out on the props. So like I made the shiv, which was from the first game, and then we made the pipe, the melee weapon with the scissors taped to it and stuff. And that I was like, okay, we need to make this look really realistic, or it's just going to look out of place because of how dirty the clothes were and stuff. And like, so for that, we were able to get foam scissors, because again, we're very big on the convention safe props. Because if you go to a convention and you're walking around and you don't have props, you're going to feel kind of out of place or like incomplete. So we got like foam scissors. We cut them to be a little more pointy. We were able to paint everything. It's just PVC pipe, so it's completely convention safe. And then I actually used a little bit of my chemistry degree and I added real rust to it. So like I actually got like metal filings and I glued them on and I rusted them and everything. It's covered in blood, and that's like one of the best props I've made, I think. Just because we were really careful to try and keep it very realistic. Like you could have easily been like, okay, I'm gonna paint rusty spots, but I was like, no, Dad, no. I was like, we're gonna go to a convention in these costumes. We need to look great.
The rust has to be authentic.
It has to be real.
You wanna set off a metal detector when you go in.
Exactly.
Oh yeah.
Exactly.
What about you, Emily? I know you've had some prop work over the years with some of your stuff.
One of the ones that was a lot of fun that I worked with my mom on, because she does like a 50s Ivy, we made what we call Herman, which looks like a little Shop of Horrors plant with like pointy teeth and the tongue sticking out. That was a lot of fun. It was just like, we got a pot and like moss from Michael's.
Yeah.
And I think it was just like a little like bush thing and a dowel. So the bush thing is hiding the dowel. So we had to cut a like foam egg in half, and I hollowed it out, even though my mom was like, I don't wanna. I was like, no, it's gonna be hollowed out. It's gotta look like a mouth. It's gonna look really cool. And had to make the little teeth out of what is it, thermoplastic, along with the tongue. So it was a nice collaborative effort. Like, she did the pot bit and figured out how to cover the like egg head thing. I don't know how to describe it other than an egg head.
Yeah.
With a felt, and make it look like a really cool little Shop of Horrors looking thing.
Yeah, it looks a little bit like Audrey too. I'm curious, why did you pick the name Herman?
She's got a thing where when she was like a kid, she named everything Herman.
Okay, that makes sense.
And that's the only reason why.
Yeah. I will say some prop work and accessories and stuff really go a long way with cosplay. Again, I'm not a cosplayer, but I do have a little bit of a story to share myself. Again, I have a Ghostbusters outfit. It's been a lifelong dream of mine to make one. And last year I finished it this year, but I started it last year. My field debut was when we did the Stranger Things launch in January. But one of the things that they have in the movie is just this, no one knows what it is. It's just like a doohickey on their belt. Fans speculate that like it's some sort of like PKE reader, or it's some sort of status thing for the proton pack. But I went to a dollar store. I bought one of those, just a big dollar calculators. I took off the part. I got rid of all the buttons, because then in it, it's got just like a big square, like circuit board. Yeah. And then I took the digital readout stuff and I kind of glued it all to it. I keep trying to figure out, I've tried a couple of ways to get it to like stay on my belts. Eventually, I haven't done it yet, but I'm going to cut out 2 slits in the back of it and actually put the belt through it. I think that's going to be the way to go. Every loop I added to it just eventually kind of sluices off. But sometimes there's fun stuff in that. Like the main jumpsuit for that's pretty easy to do. It's not that complex, but there's so much cool gadgets and things you can do. Yeah. Even just having something simple like gloves, the gloves tucked into your belt. Yeah. Like, goes a really long way to kind of like break it up, and then it's something you can play with and do different things with. I have a couple of tips sent in to me by a cosplayer who could not make it. Her name is Harley the Siren. You can find her on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter and all that stuff at Harley the Siren XOXO. And she's done a bunch of different horror characters over the years. So she sent me a couple of tips that I could bring up if necessary, if I wanted to in this, and why not? For weapons, you can always buy cheaper pieces. For example, for our Chucky cosplay that they did, they bought a Dollar Tree knife and painted the edge a brighter silver, and then used the sponges to pack on blood, which was burgundy and maroon plaid paint, as well as flicking a paintbrush at it so you can get some blood splatters going. You can also paint a weapon like a machete or knife in black, and then you can go over it with darker silver and then brighter silver towards the edges to really kind of make it look more real, but it's not really, like you were saying, like it's like plastic or foam. Yeah. Something convention safe, because even if no matter how good your Jason costume is, people don't really want you walking around with a machete or like an axe or something. Yeah. I frankly wouldn't want you to do that either. I know at some of our shows, we've had issues where, like, when Negan was on Walking Dead, like, that was a really big thing. So people have fake baseball bats with fake barbed wire on them. And occasionally, like, there'd be some grandma or something who kind of stumbled upon the event and bewilderingly calls the cops on them because they think they're going to do some real damage. Because they put fake blood on themselves or something. And it's like, you kind of need to make it real obvious sometimes that, granted, if you're going to like New York Comic-Con, people kind of know what you're in for. Yeah. There, when we're doing it in a public space like a mall, like you can just get randoms coming in. But more often than not, people are usually really cool and excited to see that. And most people know, like, don't bring a real sword to stuff.
Yeah,
But
generally.
it's always worth reiterating.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Because the
Don't
one
bring
time you
a
don't
real
reiterate
gun,
is
yeah.
going to be the one time someone does bring
Yeah, the one time we
like
don't
a
say that
real
someone will
chainsaw
actually,
in. It's like,
yeah.
the rules didn't say I couldn't.
Yeah, the one time I won't do that, someone will bring like an actual gun.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that don't do that stuff. If especially if you have like a weapon, if you can give it like an orange tip.
Oh, yeah.
Or something, just not just for cons, but like even when you're going to and from, like you don't want to
Oh my gosh, yeah.
accidentally have someone freak out. You
Yeah.
don't know what people are gonna do, especially if you're like someone like Negan, who more or less can like look like a normal guy. Obviously,
Yeah.
if you're dressed up as Godzilla or something, like
Yeah.
that's a little bit different. Not to harsh on people's creativity too much. You know. For your own personal use, you can make them look as realistic as you want.
Yeah.
Just be safe in general for like your own personal photo shoot, things like that. Let's see what else I've got on the agenda here. Now, Emily, I know you're really into the makeup aspect of it, and you're probably the most amazing makeup artist I've ever seen, and
I agree.
I'm not just trying to flatter you. I think you've legitimately earned that. I've
Thank
seen
you.
some of your stuff, and I'm like, oh my god, I didn't even recognize that was a long time.
Yeah. That was hilarious when I was the 10th Doctor, and you're like, if I didn't know it was you, I wouldn't have known
I would
it was
never
you.
have guessed it was you, because you were also like, you had a wig on, so your hair was really short and like different. Like, you just completely disappeared into the character.
Yep.
And you've done that a couple of times. I remember you did an Obi-Wan Kenobi one for one of the competitions.
With the beard.
And I happened to see you. I was like, wow, that's a pretty good Obi-Wan.
And I was just like,
Emily?
hey, Scott!
I'm
You're like, oh!
I'm like, who is this person? Why are they talking to me? And then I think your mom came up as another Jedi. I was like, oh my god! Like, because your beard was so good. It's better than any beard I ever grew.
Ray has told me kind of the same thing. He said, like, half the time when we go to these events, like, if I haven't already said, like, oh yeah, Emily's gonna be there, she's dressing up as what, he's like, half the time I don't even realize it's her until I see her mom and, like, you know, you talking to her, and then I'm like, oh wait, it's Emily.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
But
Exactly.
I do want to spend a little bit of time talking about makeup and stuff, because Morgan, you've also done some pretty cool makeup stuff. Because when you do Raven, you go completely gray.
Yeah.
I assume that's a lot of fun.
Raven is like the one costume. Well, I mean, like, I wish I could improve my makeup skills. That's the one of the biggest things with my costumes is, like, a lot of the time I feel like everything looks good, but my makeup's just slightly off, and, like, I need to get better at that. But, like, Raven, I'm working out ways to get around my hands being either not painted or painted. But the skin tone is, like, the one thing I am unhappy with. I've tried like 3 different methods, and each one I haven't liked. So I'm getting there with Raven. But yeah, that's a pain in the butt. The gray. It's crazy.
I mean, I'm a total Luddite, and I think it looks good.
Thank you.
But, you know, maybe this, you know, what I'm about to ask Emily might help you out too. Like, what are some of the some tips and tricks you've learned for your makeuping, like, applications and stuff?
Powder everything. Said everything, powder literally everything. Unless you want it to be shiny, you gotta powder everything.
I mean,
also, if you're wearing a full face like that, I've learned from Harley, because that's like my full clown makeup, is if someone's coming up and they want to take photos or they want to give you a hug, preemptively warn them that if you touch them, they're gonna have makeup all over you. I once, like, gave a friend a hug, and, you know, so it was a nice hug, and he's pretty tall, and then he went to go walk away, and I was like, hold up, you have my entire face on your shoulder, and I am so sorry. So, like, that takes some getting used to, I think, is, like, just knowing, like, don't touch me, I'm in full face of makeup, or, like, eating, like you were saying earlier, it's like,
oh god, yeah,
it's like, yeah, I just don't eat today, I guess.
pretty much.
I guess just load up on breakfast.
Powder everything, test all of the things that you're going to use, because it took a while for me to, like, when I first started with the Joker, I used a grease paint, which, like, was literally the consistency of baby diaper cream.
Ew.
Yeah,
That's a
It's
visual.
heavy.
Yeah.
it was awful. It looked good. It was very shiny because he very obviously uses like grease paint, but I was like, I can't do this.
Yeah.
It's just melting everywhere and getting all over everything. So now I've used water-based face paint, like the kind that you use on kids at fairs and stuff, which is really great for like watering it down and having it look runny, and then it sets in place and generally doesn't go anywhere
Yeah.
until you get hot and sweaty.
One thing I do have a little bit of experience with makeup. I'm less confident doing like a full face like Emily, and more confident doing like dirtying my face.
Yeah.
I guess like I got a lot of experience with like Lara Croft and Ellie and everything, because again, it's like if the costume's dirty and it's all ripped up and stuff, like if you just look clean, it's already like takes you out of it. But one tip that has like saved me on multiple occasions, and I'm so glad I found this out, is for dirt. So you can obviously go and usually buy like FX. They sell FX dirt. It's like heavy pigmented eyeshadow essentially. And so like you can rub it on your clothes, your face, whatever. I have also found that if you go to even I'm pretty sure like CVS, Walgreens, they sell it. It is root touch-up spray. So it is for your hair. It's essentially pigmented hairspray. You're supposed to spray it on your roots because you don't want to dye your roots or whatever. But that, if you get like a dark brown or a black, you can just spray it on your clothes and it doesn't come off. You can just spray it on your arms real quick. I've found that's a lot faster than like sitting here like patting dirt on your arms and your clothes and stuff. And usually it stayed on my clothes at least a lot better. So that's very time saving. A lot of fun. Yeah.
Is there anything special for like blood you'd want to put on? Like obviously you don't want to use real blood. I hope not.
No.
Well, how authentic do you want to be, Scott?
Yeah,
I mean,
I personally try to stay away from like a Halloween store. If you go into a Halloween store, they usually have like gallons of blood.
Yeah.
I usually stay away from that for clothes and stuff because I don't think it really looks that real.
It's just bright red.
That's the thing. And I've found like I usually, if I'm doing like props, I'll usually just like paint like just because I can get the color there. But for like face and stuff, they make a lot of really good FX.
They really
bloods
do.
At least. I just haven't really found much for clothes besides like the bright red fun stuff.
Yeah.
I'm sure you could make your own too. I mean, people do it for movies.
I make a lot of my own fake blood.
Yeah.
I make a lot of blood.
I just make a lot of blood,
It just comes out of every,
Yeah, it's just everywhere all the time.
Yeah.
It's just usually just Caro syrup and then a lot of red food coloring, the smallest amount of blue, and some flour, which is if you like bake the flour beforehand to get rid of any of the like bacteria and stuff, it's completely like food safe.
Awesome.
And then I know that'll help it like stick too.
Oh, it's so sticky. We did a photo shoot, or I did a photo shoot with South Jersey Jason, and by the end of the day, I was just covered.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up because he definitely murdered you good.
He murdered me very well, yes.
I will say this isn't necessarily cosplay related, but like you're talking about how red the fake blood is, because blood's not really that red in real life.
No.
People don't realize that. It's actually much more brown because it's a lot of iron and stuff.
Especially as it dries. Like if you put it on your clothes.
Yeah, it's really burgundy or maroon.
Yeah.
But, that's why you add a little bit of the blue to it.
But, if you watch Dawn of the Dead, the blood in that is like neon red, and it was so low budget. They took cans of SpaghettiOs, sifted out the pasta, and just used the sauce.
I'm gonna do that.
Go the other direction and make it like really red. That's a way to go.
Yeah.
Especially if you're gonna, do one of the zombies from that movie. I can't remember anyone's name because I'm terrible with names. It's been a long time since I watched it. But that's one of those things, like, once I learned about that, I'm like, oh, that's pretty interesting. Because you know, it's really not, it doesn't look realistic at all, but it's
Mhm.
kind of works for their world.
Yeah.
But yeah, I kind of wanted to bring that up because I know, you know, it also works for like if you want to do like Halloween decorations and stuff, you can kind of like spray your door with it. Or
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he still has some of the blood from that shoot on his costume.
I mean,
Hilariously.
For Jason, that works, you know.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
leave it.
Which, spoiler alert, I will have him on later this month, you know, because let's talk about Friday the 13th, one of the weeks in October. I wish that we had an actual Friday the 13th in it, but I want to talk about it,
Great.
so we're going to just fudge it. So yeah, we'll probably also talk cosplay a little bit in that one too. But this is the episode where that's what we're drilling into. Let's see. And then what are some simple ideas you guys might recommend for people like some, like you mentioned you were Ellie and you know, your dad was Joel and they dress like normal people. The Joker, obviously you might have to dye some stuff purple, but you can just kind of get clothes from the thrift store.
Yeah.
I know for him specifically it's more about makeup and hair to kind of
absolutely.
You know, so what are some like cool simple characters you guys think like maybe first cosplayers might want to attempt to do?
I know one of the fun things that I did, I think it was actually last year for Halloween, I just wore this. It's a Jack Skellington onesie, and then I just painted my face like a skeleton, and everybody was like, wow! And I was like, it's just a onesie and makeup!
Yeah. I've done something similar because I have Jack's like tuxedo as like one of those tuxedo t-shirts, and I have done that where I painted my face and then made it like a skeleton. I've done that before. Which is always fun, you know, as long as people still get what you do because he's got the bat bow tie and the pinstripes. It's really easy.
Oh yeah.
And obviously I'm nowhere near skeleton thin, so.
I mean, like, honestly, yeah, I think costumes like that, where it's kind of like a simple outfit, but you're really spending time on the makeup, I think they're always really pretty popular. Like, I don't know how many times my parents have gone to, like, costume parties and it's like, can you just like draw a skeleton on my face, or like can you make me look like a witch or something? I'm just gonna wear this black dress. But I mean, like that's just something,
multitudes of easier cosplays.
Exactly. Yeah. And I mean, like, there's plenty of, I guess, like iconic characters that you could go as well without doing all the makeup. Like you said, like Dwight Schrute. Like, he's very easily recognizable. It's a very popular show. And then even, like, if
there's,
you
like,
don't...
Waldo, too.
Waldo.
Yeah, I was going to say Mario would probably be pretty easy, too, you know?
Yeah.
Even, like, I found a lot of the Spirit Halloween costumes, they actually are getting a lot better.
Yeah.
And, like, if you still don't like the idea of just buying one and throwing it on with like a spirit wig or something, like you could always do what we were talking about, whereas like, you know, maybe make the prop look a little more realistic or dirty it up or whatever. But I mean, like I went last year, I guess, I'm like, I don't even know what year it is. For Halloween Comic Book Fest last year, that was one of the few costumes I did buy, and I went as Robin from Stranger Things. Because I had originally gotten a Steve costume and I did photos in it, and I was so impressed with the Steve costume that I was like, oh, I'm gonna get the Robin one and I'm gonna wear that for Halloween Comic Book Fest. But like with that, you know, I made sure to get the right shoes, the right wig, and this and that. I made my freckles stuff, so you can still grab costumes from these stores and still make them a little bit better, I guess, than just throwing them on out of the package, which is good. Because
I know for a Halloween parade, I think it was like Maze Landing's Halloween parade, I was Beetlejuice, like a female Beetlejuice type thing. Very last minute, I had to like dye the synthetic like Albert Einstein wig and stuff, but my mom wanted to be Adam Maitland, which is pretty easy, although apparently it's impossible to find a flannel that is just black and white.
Yeah, now that you mention that, I don't really see those.
Yeah, it's really weird. You'd think they'd be like more.
I mean, they're like good contrasting colors. Like that's why black and white usually goes together in outfits. Yeah, you don't have to spend really any money like dyeing it red or green or whatever.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
Super simple. And then she got the like mask with like the
the stretchy face.
wiggly bit, yeah, the
Yeah.
stretchy face thing.
Yeah.
And she was like, I want to make this look better. And I was like, you mean you want me to make this look better? And she was just like, yes.
Well, the best work's always collaborative.
Yes. She got a wig and some like red eyeshadow, so I just kind of like did blushing on the mask and then took hot glue and like laid some of the hair so it looked like there was hair because it originally was like bald, which looks really weird, surprisingly.
I can imagine.
And then just got like little ping pong balls and printed out irises and glued those on and took and frayed red string and just put those around as like little eye veins and stuck them on her fingers.
I mean, that's awesome. But
yeah.
Some other really easy costumes that I forget about, and then Halloween comes up and I'm trying to decide like something really easy I could do, like just with me and my friends or something, is go as like iconic musicians.
Oh yeah.
Like I'm always thinking like Gerard Way, Black Parade, gotta do that one year. Billy Joe, circa American Idiot, gotta do that one year.
Oh yeah.
Then you have like David Bowie is so iconic, and
David Bowie just
Lady Gaga, like there's so many looks
you could just
to
do
choose
like
from that
Freddie Mercury with like just the white beater and
exactly. Yep, exactly. And like those are some characters that if you just look at if you just Google iconic photos of Freddie Mercury, you guarantee that's going to come up.
Oh yeah.
And everybody's seen it. And you just throw on that outfit and people are going to immediately recognize who you are. Or you could bring in a fun prop that kind of like hints to who you are if you're like a little worried. But like those are something that I always gravitate towards when I'm like last minute, like what can I make that's not making anything?
Yeah.
Basically.
We'll say if you want to be Michael Jackson, you only need one glove, you know.
One glove. Yep. Exactly.
Now we've mentioned it a couple of times here, but you guys are talking about working with wigs and stuff. Like I've never used them. I might because I'm balding pretty good and I'm in my mid-30s, so I might need to use a wig. On a daily basis. But like what I have completely, even more so than makeup, completely out of my wheelhouse. Like what do you look for when you're looking for like wigs and stuff?
I personally always look for a lace front just because they're easier. I'm actually wearing a wig, but I feel like that would be obvious.
Oh, I didn't know.
I thought it was real.
Yeah, it looks very synthetic.
I haven't seen you in a while. So.
This is actually sliding off of my head, but it's a lace front, so it looks more natural because it's got like it's lace, so it's little like holes where the hairs are tied, and it looks like a natural hairline.
Yeah.
I always look for something heat resistant because otherwise it's
you can't style it.
Ridiculously hard to style. It can be done, but is it fun? No.
Yeah.
I think there's like a big misconception with wigs too. Like I know before I started wearing them, I guess on like a semi-regular basis, I always thought that like if it wasn't coming from Spirit Halloween or like a costume store, it was expensive. I was like, anything that is not like a quality higher than this is expensive. But like I've gotten some really good ones on like Amazon. I'm pretty sure my Robin one last year was like my saving grace because I could only find that one in like a semi good length and that color on Amazon. I was like, I'm gonna take a risk. It's like $25. We'll see what I get. And I was really impressed with it, and I compared it to a lot of my more expensive like lace fronts and stuff, and I was like, see. And I could have probably gone to Spirit and gotten their Robin wig, and it would have also been $25 and looked like crap. Yeah. So there's a lot of places to get wigs these days, and they're not all, $50+.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I know you mentioned like Emily that you had to like dye a wig and you can style.
Yes.
You can do all kinds of different things with wigs, even if you can't find exactly the green Albert Einstein hair that you need to be Beetlejuice. Yeah. But so we're talking about dyeing and styling wigs and stuff. How difficult is that versus like regular hair?
Depends on what you're trying to do, really. So like the one that I'm wearing is a synthetic wig, which you can't dye with normal hair dye. So there's a few methods. The one that I personally would recommend the most would be dyeing it like you would dye fabric with some normal like grit dye. You could also go for the, you know, mutilate a Sharpie and stick it in alcohol and spray it down and then kind of rinse that out a little bit and it'll stain.
Yep.
Which I did for my Joker wig when I had to re-dye it. So that was fun.
I also did that, the Sharpie method for my Harley wig after I tried the Rit dye and it wasn't the colors I wanted, so I used Sharpie, and I now bleach my white undershirt every single time I wear it, because when I'm done at the end of the day, there's red and black all over my shoulders.
Yeah, that's the problem with it. I think there are ways of setting it with like floor wax, which I've never done.
I've looked into that before because I'm like, there has to be a way.
There has to be a way.
Everybody I've talked to is like, no, that's just how it is. But I'm like, there has to be a way.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's easy. And if it's like if you're looking to just do it to like a wig that, you know, you're wearing for Halloween, I mean, it's definitely if I'm never going to wear this wig again.
Yeah.
Here's something that's fast, easy, cheap, and I don't care if it stains my weird costume shirt that I'll probably never wear again.
Yeah.
Well, that's good to know. And like, so is there any costumes you guys would like to tackle? Like, say we can go back to conventions and you can go to stores and buy things like normal again.
If you can go places.
Yeah, you know, the world.
We can go places.
Yeah, you can go places to show this off. That's not just, you know, the internet. Is there any characters you guys would like to tackle like next?
There's so many. There are so many.
Well, like, let's say like just name me one real quick.
The first one that comes to mind, since I've gotten into D&D and like Critical Role, I really want to do a Mollymauk cosplay, but Christ, the amount of work that's going to be to like I will actually have to make the coat this time.
Yeah.
And like embroider it and stuff, and I really want to do it, but good God, I will be purple for probably the rest of my life.
Wait, well, like what? See, I listen. I'm more of an the Adventure Zone guy, so to me, it's like, oh, I'd be Taco and get a big hat and just wizard robes and stuff. Which is funny because now this is off topic, but maybe we can turn this into a second tabletop game real quick. But I'm actually sort of interested in maybe cosplaying the character I'm playing in a Discord game where I'm a transgender elf. I'm going to eventually commit to the they, them pronouns, but she still thinks of herself as female. But I might go that route. But she's kind of like normal clothing and things. Like, not normal clothing, but like normal like elf robes and stuff.
Yeah.
You know,
I've seen a lot of people doing that, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Just
I would love to do
creating their D&D or, you know, like role-play game characters, which is pretty
and like
awesome.
I don't care if nobody gets it, but I would have to get a wig because she's got kind of like Gwenpool's hair where it's blonde and then it goes into purple. So I would have to do something weird like that and then get
probably dip dyeing a wig, which is
to do that properly though. I would also have to do contacts, and I hate contact lenses because she's got blue eyes and
that's
I have
fair.
brown ones. Have you guys ever done anything with contacts?
I really want to, but I have alien eyes, so they're like misshapen, so I can't really do colored contacts.
Oh yeah,
my eye jellies are not correct.
They're oblong instead of spherical, right?
Yeah, astigmatism is not fun.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think they're starting to make colored contacts for astigmatism, so I'm very interested. Very, very interested.
See, the problem I have with colored contacts is I've bought them plenty of times. Like, I think I have these brown ones I've worn a few times just for like, they're just natural brown, but I think I got them for like Laura Croft because I'm like, I have to be exact. She's got brown eyes. And I've worn it for like a couple times. And then I had these purple ones I wore for Raven that, like, of course, dried out after the first time I used them. But like, the problem I have is I am so blind that a lot of the time they don't even carry my prescription in colored contacts, so I just get sad.
Yeah, I have obviously, you know, I'm wearing glasses all the time, so obviously I need prescription as well. It's just I don't wear contacts. Period. I can't get over putting them in my eyes.
That's fair.
It's got a combination of that, and I like the way glasses frame my face better. So it's, you know,
that's also fair.
Whatever works for you. And like I would never ever like tell someone like your costume isn't accurate. I mean, I wouldn't do that to anybody anyway, but especially like contacts. I'm not gonna ring someone out because like you're not wearing purple contacts for Raven, and her eyes are purple. It's like, no. Some people just can't wear contacts.
Yeah. In my
I
experience,
know plenty of people who will like just Photoshop their eyes if they're doing like photos online or whatever it is.
Yeah, in my experience, people haven't noticed because when I do cosplay, I wear my normal contacts to see.
Yeah.
And nobody, when I'm Harley, they're not like, your eyes, they're not blue.
Exactly.
So
people probably don't even notice unless like they're really sitting there.
Unless they're like
or they're like iconic. Like
I don't even know what color Harley's eyes are supposed to be.
They're blue.
Are they?
Yeah. Harley's eyes are blue, Mercy's eyes are blue.
I feel like a lot of female characters, especially in comic books, or a lot of comic book characters in general have blue eyes. I don't know, maybe the colors, like something about them like makes them pop or stand out on the page a little bit more.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. That's not something I ever think about. And also, like, if I were to start cosplaying more, so like my Ghostbuster outfit, it's got my last name on it, so it's just me. I'm not. Otherwise, I'd have to be Egon, so I can wear glasses.
Yeah.
Eventually, I will do an Egon cosplay.
Which, to be fair, Egon's my favorite, so I wouldn't.
Same.
Oh yeah, we just
Egon fan club right here.
Egon gang.
As we recorded this, I just posted a last-minute Ghostbusters podcast last night. So we talked a little bit about that stuff. Egon was my very first Halloween costume I picked out for myself. I was the real Ghostbusters one at the age of 3, and I've got home video footage of me doing that.
That's adorable.
I know the age I am because my brother was born at the beginning of October, and he's there as a little tiny baby. So
that's cute.
Yeah, no,
You have been cosplaying since you were a little kid.
Yeah,
you say it, I'm not a cosplayer.
Listen, I have a couple. I've got a 4th Doctor. I've got a Batman one hanging next to me over here. I've got a Ghostbusters one. I have half of a Pokemon Trainer Red, mostly because I own the hat. I was going to do that one year, and I just never got around to it. It was after they revealed him in Sun and Moon. I was going to go that route because it was just like a T-shirt, and I just have to write like 96 on it. So that was pretty easy, rather than get like the whole jacket and the whole 9 yards. But I guess basically, like, I guess the advice I could probably give someone, because the Batman one I bought, it's Ruby Spears. The Ghostbusters one, I followed a guide online to like make the guy went a little more crazy movie accurate than I cared about, like buying specific boots and things. I was like, I got steel-toed boots, they work. Well, you know, just you can do whatever. You can make some really good stuff with a really low budget.
Yeah.
So just, I mean, be realistic. If you only are going to be like, well, I'm only going to spend like $100. Don't go out of your way for like a really elaborate, like, I don't know, Morrigan from StarCraft thing where you're going to need like all these big pieces like around you and things. But there's lots of, you know, like the Ghostbusters outfit you could do for like less than $100, and it looks really good. Where the money comes in on that is like buying the accessories, like you getting a proton pack and stuff. But you even just wearing the jumpsuit, it's just iconic enough in its own way.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
Even though I own that stuff now, if I don't want to walk around with it because maybe I don't feel like walking around with it, I don't have to, and you still get who you are, you know.
Yeah, and like you said, you can always update it. Like when I started the Joker, I didn't have the tie or the socks or like the proper shirt. I don't think I still have the tie yet, but I now have the proper shirt and the proper socks, which small detail, the socks, but you know.
Well, and you know, talking about updating it as you go. You were what, 13 when you first did that?
Yeah, I was just the cutoff for being an adult, and I was like, oh no!
Yeah, I remember that. I was like, wow, I can't believe they beat all of the adults.
I know.
But not to give away your age too much now, but now you're an adult. Presumably
I'm 19.
Yeah, you're a lot taller now, so.
I don't know that I'm much taller.
But still, it's what was that? 6 years difference? You're gonna change.
Yeah, dear God.
Yeah, dude, we don't have. Listen, I'm gonna be 35 this Christmas. We don't need to talk about age.
This year isn't happening.
Oh,
so it's not happening. You're not going to be 35 this year.
Yeah, we need
got another year.
Now that's been
2020 didn't happen.
Yeah, that's been the joke when we were talking about Back to the Future's 35th anniversary in that episode. I was like, I should have remembered because it's also my 35th anniversary. But no, like it's so I don't know. Is there any other like? I know we did the cosplay confession, so people can go on our website and we have an interview
Mhm.
with you guys and many other wonderful cosplayers we've known over the years. And if you are one, you could submit to that as well. But I'm not trying to plug that. But, you know, we talked a little bit about like your desires and why you guys pick the characters you pick. Like, Emily, is there a reason you picked the Joker and you're still kind of keeping up with them?
Yeah. A lot of it is like I really am into acting and becoming the character, and I really want to be an actress. So I pick a lot of the characters that are very interesting to me. Like I like trying to figure out how the characters work and why they are the way that they are. It's a lot of fun for me.
So in like the role play aspect of it.
Yeah. It's fun making children cry. No.
I do know that is one of the reasons you stopped being the Joker around the store so much.
Yeah.
Kids did start getting scared, which is funny because then you're Harley Quinn.
They love Harley.
They love her.
Everybody loves Harley. They're like, children just running up and hugging my legs. I'm like, oh.
To me, that's
Joker,
just as baffling.
I just look at them and they cry.
To me, they're almost the same character because they're both their movies are not for kids. Like, specifically were the Suicide Margot Robbie version of her.
Yeah.
I don't know. They both tap into the same fear of clowns some people have. But it's been interesting to watch that, and it's I don't know, an interesting phenomenon. But you both do Harley, you both have done Harley. So, why is she a character you both were attracted to in that regard?
I know one of the only reasons I did the version of Harley I did was because I did it to have an excuse to wear my costume at work.
Yeah.
So I convinced my manager at the time to let me wear it to the midnight release of the Arkham Knight game. I was like, if I make this costume in like the next 6 months, can I wear it to the midnight release? And they were like, yeah, sure, whatever, go for it. I was like, okay. So I just I gravitated towards that just because I really liked the design of it at the time, and I do like the Arkham games. So she's not my favorite version of Harley. I actually prefer the animated series, like OG Harley Quinn. I'll do that eventually, but that's sometimes for me, like I usually have an interest in the character, either like in a video game. That's where a lot of my inspiration comes from, is like video game characters. But then like sometimes I'll just go through a series I really love, like the Arkham games or something, and I just say like, you know what, I like them and their design is like the coolest. Like I'm a huge like Avatar: The Last Airbender fan as well, and I mean, like, I could go on and on about how much I love, like, almost every character in that entire show. And then, like, that last year I decided I'm going to do an Azula costume because I love her for, like, these reasons. And also, like, she just looks awesome all the time. Like, I just love the Firebender characters. They all look so great. So, like, sometimes it just, for me, comes down to, all right, I already have an interest in this character, and that would just be really fun to make. And I'm unlike Emily, I'm actually like not interested in the role playing aspect. Like it's really funny. Like sometimes I have had people come up to me in like costume. Like we have a mutual friend, Kevin D Cosplay.
Yeah.
Plug him. He's come up to me plenty of times dressed as like Joker, and I'm Harley, and he's like, like we're like trying to act things up in front of like, a group of people, and I'm just like, Kevin, my man, what's up? Like, you're blowing our cover right now. And I'm like, I can't act. I don't know what you want from me. I'll take photos with you, but as long as I don't have to talk, like we're good.
I understand. I was just say I have a newfound appreciation for your Azula cosplay now, because I kind of forgot you did it, but I was going back through Cosplay Confessions for some reason, and I used that as one of the cover photos. But I finally watched Avatar: The Last Airbender now that it's on Netflix, and it lives up to the hype. I thought for sure it would not.
Yeah, I've watched that show since I was little. Like I remember staying up for 3 days straight because they marathoned it. They marathoned the entire show right before the movie and the finale. And I remember I was like, Mom, I know I'm like 12 years old, but I'm going to sleep in the living room for 3 days and watch this show. Like, she's just a character that I've like, you hate her and then you love her and then you hate her and then you feel bad for her. And then like, I'll die on the hill of I think she's the most powerful person in that entire show, aside from Avatar State. Anything she'd kick everybody else's butt.
I mean, she
so,
did
like,
beat Aang in the Avatar State, and that was a big problem.
Yeah.
Yep. I mean, to be fair, it was a sucker, like a sneak attack, so, you know, whatever.
I'm just like, you know what? She's a kick butt character, and she looks awesome, so I'm gonna love her color scheme.
All right, now speaking, we talked about wigs, so let's go the opposite route. So you were talking about Avatar: The Last Airbender. If you were to do Aang, would you wear a bald cap or would you actually shave your head?
I wouldn't do either, to be completely honest. So, like, I'm very into gender bending. I don't think I've done a lot of regularly male characters like Link and Steve Harrington, and I've done the 11th Doctor, and literally all of them I've made into women. I'm just like, I like doing that because that lets me put my own spin on it. Like I can get a little creative in the sense that, like, I want to still make it recognizable. Like, how can I make this still look like the 11th Doctor Who? But like wear a cute skirt and like this and hair. So like if I was to go as Aang, I don't even know if I'd say it's Aang. I'd just say it's like a more conventional, like or generic like airbender, I guess, and I probably would just have a wig. Honestly, I wouldn't commit to being bald for that role.
That's fair.
See, but then you could shave your head and then just wear a wig until your hair grows back to normal. Like
there you go. I mean, that's another route. That's commitment, but
I guess I'd want to get paid.
Yeah.
No, that would be fun to do like a whole Avatar thing. I don't know. I guess I'd be Uncle Iroh at this point, which is fine. I would, whatever. I would do that. Oh yeah. There's so many great characters out there that people could, come from do. And then, talking about you can be, if you want to be Team Avatar, like there's lots of cool group cosplays you can do. Have you done one together at any of our events? I'm like a coordinated character, but I know Emily.
Not on purpose.
Yeah, I was gonna say we've done like same universe characters.
Yeah, stuff. Like I know I've come as Joker because you were like, I'm doing Harley, and I was like, well, I gotta be Joker.
Yeah, and then you'd come to the store as Joker on like Batman Day, and I was Batman, and we had other Batman characters we knew were coming. So like for instance, my Batman costume, I bought off. It's a Ruby Spears. It's the Adam West one. I have had to modify the cape and a couple other things. I discovered I have to keep my trunks up with an actual belt that I put.
That'd be bad.
That I put the utility belt over because it keeps going down, and like it keeps looking bad. And then I've done stuff with the cape where I've added like Velcro to it, so that way it like stays. Otherwise, it like slides all over and like doesn't look good. But our friend Joey came as the Cesar Romero Joker, and he has a big...
I remember this.
So he dyed the whole beard white because Cesar Romero would just dye his mustache and wouldn't shave it. And I think took that costume to a whole nother step.
It was hilarious.
Oh my God.
So hard to do photos because every time he went, ooh, and I was like, oh no.
But it also made his face just look huge because you couldn't, because it just made the beard just look like more face. That was one of the that might have been, it was at least the most fun I've had dressing up in costume.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
But I know there's if you and a couple of your friends want to get together, like if you guys both have doctor costumes, they're both different doctors.
Yeah.
You guys should definitely.
We gotta like do something, man.
Some sort of two doctors crossover.
That would be fun. Like doctors are very easy for Halloween too.
Yeah.
A lot of easy thrifting parts.
Mm-hmm.
If you're in any type of professional or academic scenario, you've probably already got dress shirts and maybe not bow ties. But another good tip that you just reminded me of, Scott, when you talk about your pants falling down, is if I see a lot of girls go wear costumes around Halloween with long socks or long boots.
Mm-hmm.
I wore long socks and a skirt for my 11th Doctor costume. Wear nude tights underneath. If you wear nude tights underneath or just any tights, they will not slide down your leg.
That's
It's
good to know.
amazing. It's great. It's
Yeah.
great. So if you're wearing long socks, wear some nude tights under it, and it'll definitely help. You won't be pulling them up all night. I've even
Yeah.
seen people go as far as to sewing the tights into their
Mhm.
socks. But you know,
I mean, if you even just wearing them, but like you can always put like a little bit of Velcro if that's still an issue. I mean,
Yeah.
don't put it on your skin, obviously.
No, don't Velcro your skin.
Yeah, but you can put them onto something like tights or leggings or something.
I think
Yeah.
they make soft glue, weirdly enough. I think that's an actual thing, and I don't
Like
like
I wouldn't be surprised.
Like to glue against your skin or like another
Yeah.
fabric. Oh wow.
That's like one of those problems that you never think of. Again, going back to like test everything, you never think like, if I wear this, I'm gonna be pulling my socks up all day long. Like you don't think of that. You're just like, yeah, they're socks.
And I guess there are utility concerns, especially if you're going to go to a con, something you're going to be in all day. Like you're eventually going to have to go to the bathroom or.
Unless you're me, you don't.
You're just like, nah, it's not happening.
But even if you make that decision, you're like, oh, if I'm not going to go to the bathroom while wearing this, it's like, I got to be able to make that. You know, I know I need to deal with that because like people that are like Spider-Man or something that's like full body. Like, I can't wrap my brain around that.
I mean, like, shout out to the handlers.
Yeah.
Honestly.
My sister goes to like almost every convention with me for that reason. I'm like, I have to go to the bathroom. I'm gonna need you to come in the stall and like unzip everything I'm wearing right now.
Yeah.
It just happens.
Oh, that's such a problem when I was Witch Mercy because it's like you have wings.
Yeah.
And that's like a one like dress thing. It doesn't like come off in pieces, does it?
It's just like a one dress situation, and then I like have the wings underneath the dress.
Yeah.
Which is a pain.
I can imagine. Oh yeah. But yeah, and also like a consideration if you're gonna walk around like with your props and stuff, it's like how heavy is this gonna get after like an hour or two?
Yeah.
And how, especially if you're going to like New York Comic Con or one of the big ones, how incredibly much can I sweat in this? Because just wearing normal clothes, like I've never cosplayed at like an event that wasn't ours. So they're not nearly as big, like because New York Comic Con gets like 10,000 people an hour or something.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh my God, it's just the massive bodies like in a room.
It's so bad.
It heats it up so much.
It's so bad.
Like just wearing like t-shirt and shorts, it's like, oh my God, it's so hot in here. It's unbearable. Like just wearing a bag to carry like my swag in. I'm like, oh my God, I don't know how people walk around.
I'm sure like you both have considered that when you've decided like not even like I'm gonna make a costume for this event, but I'm gonna wear a costume for this event. That's why it's like the Halloween Comic Fest costumes are usually a lot comfier. They're a lot more like Halloween, I guess. Like this is my Halloween costume rather than like a giant costume that I'm gonna like freeze in or sweat in.
Yeah.
That's people do ask me why I don't like wear a costume or something on Free Comic Book Day, and my response is always just like I gotta work.
I'm working.
Yeah, well, like my Batman costume, I can't wear my glasses, and even if I could, like your range of visibility is so much lower.
Yeah.
And like, man, that mask does not breathe. My head gets so sweaty in it.
Oh yeah.
Like I really only want to wear it for like an hour or two, and then hop in the back and jump back out.
Yeah.
Honestly, one of the best feelings in the entire world, though, is like taking your costume and makeup and wig off after like an 8-hour day of wearing it. It's the best. I love that.
God, I was Harley for Katsu for so long, and I remember I just took it off and I was like, I am me. I am reborn.
Man, those heels in that costume are something else too.
They're actually really comfortable.
Oh, are they?
Yeah.
They seem really like high. So like, oh man, that would be.
The thing about heels when you're doing cosplay, it's like you always want to get like a platform, so it's not actually like as hard on your foot as it looks.
Mm-hmm.
So those are just platform ones. The what is it? Witch Mercy ones are far more uncomfortable.
Okay.
That's the best one. Like you look at a costume like this is gonna be comfy, and then you're like never mind, and then you wear one where you're like, oh, this is like pants and a t-shirt, it should be fine. But I know my Lara Croft one, it's like pants and a tank top or a jacket, and then I have like the belts and all the props, but I'm like, this should be comfy otherwise, right? And I'm like, no, with this holster and belt, I can't sit down. I'm like, at least with like Harley, I can sit down. It's like, why? How can she move in this? I can't
Right?
sit.
It's not even just moving. She goes on like some wild adventures in those
That's
games.
what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And like that's a
How do
costume.
you live?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, I guess that's the point of the
Exactly.
game is how is she living? Like, it's a survival game.
Yep. Yep.
Now you have see you talk about you don't role play and act. You're doing it right there.
I'm surviving by not
Survivor.
sitting down.
Yeah.
I remember, was it you one free comic book day at Holland Conference? One of the ones where we had a contest, and someone was that Tomb Raider, and the whole day they were so frustrated because the Hunger Games had just been a thing, and everyone thought
That
they
was
were
me.
Katniss. That was you. All
That
right.
was
I thought it was, but was it you that like then when you were on
That was
stage,
me.
you're like, I'm not Katniss.
I
Everybody.
remember that.
Yeah, that was
vaguely
me. I got
remember.
Katniss like 30 times, and then I went to a convention either right before or right after that where I also wore that costume. And I remember like even just walking to the street to the convention, I got like Katniss, and I was like, I'm gonna count how many times people call me Katniss. And I think like 2 people were like, oh, Lara Croft, and I was like, yeah. And then like there was a few people where after I was like, no, I'm not Katniss. They were like, are you the Tomb Raider? I was like, yes.
I feel like I have vague memories of earlier in the day. I think you asking me or somebody near me, like, who do you think I am? I think and I was like, oh yeah, you're the new Tomb Raider.
Yeah.
I work in a video game store. I don't work in a
Yeah.
regular movie store, so I don't know. I didn't pay attention to the Hunger Games really. I was just like, it's
yeah.
that girl who was Mystique in that last movie. Is that all right? Whatever.
I can't really like blame people either. Like I wore my Steve Harrington costume like right after Stranger Things came out, like, and it was a big thing. And I was walking around with the baseball bat, and I kept getting Negan. And I was like, I'm dressed like a 15-year-old boy. And I'm like, okay.
People
I
just
guess
saw
I'm
the
Negan
bat.
now.
Well, because like they don't even wear the same color clothes or anything.
I got that a lot.
I remember
too.
I saw that, and you're like, we're judging, and your bat followed me. I was like, Lucille, because I was like, I hadn't seen Stranger Things, but I was like, wait, that's also not correct. What is this?
Well, see, Steve's bat has nails in it, whereas the other one's wrapped in barbed wire.
Yes.
I
had not watched.
Straighten my
I still
glasses.
haven't watched. I haven't watched Walking Dead. Yeah. At that time, I hadn't watched Walking Dead or Stranger Things, and I have only watched Stranger Things since then.
That's fine.
Yeah.
I love the first season of Stranger Things, and I like the sequels. And I do not like the Walking Dead show. I know. And talking about accessories, making an outfit here. When you did season 2, Steve, you had the gloves, you had the sunglasses. Did he have a Walkman? Am I imagining that?
The Walkman.
You had a bunch of stuff though.
I had the bat, I had the kitchen gloves, I had sunglasses, and then like obviously I found the exact jacket he wore in the show and stuff. The one thing I couldn't get right was his backpack. So for the backpack, I was like, okay, I really want to hit home that this is Stranger Things, because I feel like if I don't have my bat or something for some reason, I'm just gonna look like a kid,
Yeah.
But I put like patches all over the back. So I put like the Hawkins Police Department patch, and I put Justice for Barb on the back, and like a couple other. I think I had like the arcade pin on there and stuff. Because I was like, okay, hopefully there was an Eggo patch, I believe too. I was like, hopefully if somebody doesn't get it when I initially walk by, they'll see my backpack and like it'll hit them. And like that's another thing, like for costumes, like I was saying before, if you think it's too plain and you're not sure people are gonna get it like right away, try to think if there's like a prop or something you could bring into it that maybe will hint towards it, and then other people, it'll just hit them.
And sometimes and sometimes it's as simple, like say your Pokemon trainer, just have like a stuffed Pokemon.
Exactly.
Like something like that. Like you could probably have had a stuffed Demodog or something instead of that backpack.
Exactly. I literally, I think at that time I considered getting like a little Demogorgon to put in my backpack, but I was like, it was like kind of last minute. But yeah, exactly. Things like that are so easy to do.
Yeah, I think I suggested trying to make the Farrah Fawcett hairspray for that, but I don't think you had the time.
You did, and I had looked into that so much.
Yeah.
I was like ready to do it.
Because
I think I couldn't. I think I like was looking at someone on Etsy who had made the label for it, and I was like, see, that's a very like niche thing to do, but like why I need that.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And it just like fell through, I think. But like yeah, stuff like that is just so great. Like throwing little inside jokes into your costume just to bring it up that much more. I love that.
Yeah, and the majority of people, I think, really appreciate personal touches and stuff. I mean, I think that's cool.
Yeah.
But I'm also, not new to interacting with people, and then I've experienced the internet, so I know there's people that will complain about any small imperfection. But like, you just got to let that stuff roll off your
I was
back.
gonna say, and usually those are the people who aren't necessarily rooting you on to begin with,
Yeah.
which is the thing. Like I said, I feel like any big cosplay enthusiast is not gonna look at another cosplayer and say like, "Wow, your costume's great, except for your Joker socks aren't right, Emily." like no one who actually like enjoys it is gonna rag on someone else for anything like that.
Well,
but there's always going to be the people who have something to say about it but have never tried it in their life.
Well, you're doing this stuff because it's fun, and it's because it's what you want to do. As long as you are having fun, that's all that matters.
Yeah, exactly. And like when I initially started this, I had no intention of going to conventions or anything like that. I figured like down the line maybe, but at the time I like just made my Link costume because it was just something I wanted to do, and I was like, I'll run around in the woods, take photos with my sister. But like even like that, I did like feel a little concerned because I was like, well, if I post photos, am I gonna get like heat for just turning Link into a girl? Are people gonna get mad about that? And then I'm like, oh, guess what? I don't care.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing. It's fun. I don't care.
And to be fair, like, it's the same exact design. The only thing that makes it a girl is that you are a girl.
Yeah, I made like that. That's kind of what I like to do with my costumes too. I like to still make them very obviously that character, but like for Link, I made the tunic a little more of like a shirt-skirt combo than it originally is, like a tunic, and I made, like a long wig and that sort of thing. But I was still like, I don't really want to add like high heels because like Link wouldn't be running around in the woods with high heels. And then Linkle existed, and she's got like high-heeled boots. And I was like, okay, maybe Link would. But yeah, exactly. It's like, I don't really care. I just want to redesign this character. So I don't. Yeah.
And that's all good. Especially, you did say you like did some feminine stuff to your doctor costume, but like so many alternate universes and time travel, and they can be whatever gender. So it's
and
like, whatever.
I wore that to a convention where it wasn't like, it wasn't like a Doctor Who convention. And at the time, I'm pretty sure we were definitely already on to the 12th Doctor. And I was, I think maybe even the 13th, because I think I had a friend who went as her. And so I was like, are people going to get that this is me? And then like right away, I'm like standing at my table with like the sonic screwdriver, and like a couple came like running over. They were like, I saw the screwdriver and I immediately knew who you were, and we love Matt Smith. And I was like, me too. I was like, okay, see, like as long as the fans recognize me, then that's all I could ask for.
Yeah. I will say, like, even when I've done my cosplay things, when people can come up and appreciate it, it gives you a lot of energy, even if you're kind of run down and hot. Like it's really reinvigorating. Like, what are some of the costumes you guys have done at different events where like you kind of people respond to the most, it seems?
Oh, it's Joker, obviously. Yeah. I got a lot as a Joker when I went to Wizard World Philly. That was like the second time I cosplayed the Joker. And then I went to KatsuCon as Harley Quinn, and I did Witch Mercy, which was really fun and really cool. Had a lot of response.
I do love your Witch Mercy. I think it's
I love Witch Mercy. See, that design is just so cute.
Yeah. Eventually I'll do more like Overwatch characters, but for now.
Yeah, I'll say I'll give you guys each some compliments. Not that I wouldn't normally do it anyway, but I think my favorite costumes from each of you. I think your Witch Mercy is amazing.
Thank you.
It also makes a lot of your cosplays you do wear heels, so I do forget how tall you are when you're not wearing them.
Yeah.
Because usually I think of you like, oh yeah, she's taller than I am, but she's really not.
Yeah. God, that time when I was Frankenfurter. I was like 7 feet tall.
I know you were
that
so hot.
much.
Oh my god.
That was another one where I was like, oh my god, I didn't realize it was you. Because I think you came.
Yeah.
I also didn't realize it was Frankenfurter first because you're wearing like a trench coat because
Yeah, it was.
you don't want to walk
like,
around
medical
in the
thing.
parking lot outside, you know, and
Oh yeah, and it was
lingerie.
supposed to be like a family event. I was like, I can't just be like in that.
Yeah.
There's some other really easy, fun Halloween costume ideas. Rocket
Yeah.
horror.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And Morgan, I know we talked about your Link one a lot, and all right, this is my bias. I know we were both on when we talked about Legend of Zelda, but especially your redesigned Ocarina of Time Link, I think
Yeah.
is the bomb, and I really love it. And I would
Thank
like
you.
to
That's
see
one of the
that.
many costumes I need to take photos of. I redid it and I have like one photo in it from when I
Yeah.
wore it, and that's about it.
Yeah. Because I know you've worn. I think the only one you wore to our events is you did a Breath of the Wild version.
Yes. Yep,
Um,
I did Breath of the Wild again as an excuse to wear it to work.
Mhm.
I wore it when the Switch came out. I was a full-time college student at the time, and it was really bad. I stayed up for like 3 days straight trying to finish that.
Mhm.
I
Oh,
literally
wow.
didn't sleep the night before, and then I was up at school and up until midnight working that night to wear it. So I don't have props for that one. So that's like another costume on my list of, okay, I need to make some props and finish this one finally too. And then
Mhm.
I'll inevitably never take pictures of that too as well.
But you have them, and you know you have them, so that's
Yeah.
that's where it's
yeah,
what's,
exactly.
But yeah, and even though I'm saying what my favorite ones are from you guys, like I don't think I've ever seen you guys do something that wasn't amazing.
Thanks.
And again, I'm not just saying that because you're guests on my show, and I would love to have you back at some point. You know, you wouldn't be on here. It's Level Up and Friends. I do consider you both friends, and I'm glad that we've been able to have a working relationship over the years. And having you guys be involved in the store and the things that we do, I think definitely helps add another like layer to what we do as well. Hopefully, we can do stuff soon.
Oh please, I miss conventions and
Yeah.
cosplaying.
I don't. I'll be conservative and think I don't think Halloween Comic Fest is going to be an event
Yeah.
this year. Hopefully, Free Comic Book Day by then. God forbid, like either we'll all be dead or we'll be. Enough people have died that everyone else is immune enough that we can start doing things.
yeah.
You know, knock on wood. Or
I
maybe
don't
we'll
know
have a
about
vaccine.
you, Emily, but I have had no motivation to do anything because of all
Oh
of
yeah.
this. I have a Wonder Woman costume from the new movie that I had started back in like March, and because they pushed the movie back 30 times, I have also procrastinated about 30 times.
Yeah, I was gonna say I didn't know
Yeah.
you had a Wonder Woman one in the works, but yeah, fortunately the movie's not coming out until like next year probably, so you're good to go.
It's good for me because again, like we were a month out and I had the tiara done and that was about it. And then they pushed it back and I did the same thing, and then now it's pushed back till December and I still just got the tiara done. So we'll see what happens. But
Yeah.
I'd love to wear it to the Free Comic Book Day if that happens, but we'll see.
I would
Or
like
if the movie ever comes out.
I would like to make if reasons for them to come out dressed up again. Also, so I can wear my Ghostbusters outfit more than once.
yeah.
So I would love to have more things, because that's the one costume I have that like I actually don't mind working in. I won't wear the proton pack and like the trap and like some of that like clunkier stuff all day long, but like it's pretty comfortable. I just got to put my insoles in my boots and I'm good to go.
There you go.
But you know, I think that'll do it for this episode. We've been about an hour or so. So
Yeah.
where I usually try to keep it, more often than not, we go on for 2 hours and then it's a nightmare trying to put it into a listenable show. But
Oh no.
that's always fun. That's why we do this. You know,
Yeah.
things I want to talk about with people I want to talk about them with.
Yep.
But yeah, no. So you know, thank you guys again for coming on, and hopefully we gave people some ideas for not just this Halloween, but if they're interested in cosplay, you know, maybe they have some ideas what they want to do. I think the general advice might just be if you're interested in do it, just do it, right?
Yeah.
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 You know?
If all else fails, zombies.
Yeah.
yeah. Zombies, skeleton face paint, you know,
Yep.
whatever you got.
Yeah. You can buy stuff off the racks and it's, you know, not the worst
Yeah.
thing. You can always update them and tailor them for whatever your needs are, you discover as you go. But we'll give everyone your your links and stuff again. Morgan, where can they find you?
I again am at Moglin, Moaglin, basically on I think that's my Facebook, my Twitter, and my Instagram. So
Okay. And Emily?
I am Emily's Madness on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. But
Okay.
I haven't unfortunately not been doing much because the whole world is on fire.
yeah, me
We're
too.
on TikTok now more than ever, all right?
Yes!
It's a call to action. But thank you guys so much for listening, for joining us, and thank you at home for listening to the podcast. I really enjoyed talking to you guys about cosplay. Like I enjoy talking to you about anything that comes up. Emily, I'll find a non-cosplay reason to have you on soon. I know Morgan, we've talked about Zelda because in real life we've talked about that franchise a ton because it's both of our favorite video game series. So I think next week we're going to be talking what makes a good horror video game. So we'll be talking about that. After that, we're going to be doing Simpsons Treehouse of Horror. And then I forget the exact order after that because I don't have the schedule in front of me. But all this month we're doing a bunch of horror and Halloween related podcast episodes just because I love all of this stuff and it's my favorite time of year. And I suspect it's most people's favorite time of the year. So until next week, guys, be safe out there.